Good morning or good afternoon or whenever you're watching this. As I'm recording this, it's a Sunday. I am driving to my mother's in Pennsylvania. I have some work-related meetings in New Jersey on Monday, Tuesday. So thought I would stop at my mom's. I have about 4 hours left of the ride, so I'm still in Massachusetts. I'm in Fall River going over the bridge. So I hope the camera isn't bouncing around too much here as I'm hitting all the expansion joints on this bridge. So not much to look at anyway on here because I'm just talking. So what I wanted to talk about is I was just wrapping another video where I had recently gone through like an interview process, right, for a potential new opportunity. And in that video, I talk about one of the things I drew from was like, well, I had to get on an airplane and go be somewhere for, basically 2 days or whatever. I kept telling myself this is nothing compared to what I had to do for my current job. So as of this recording, I still have my job that I've had for over 8 years. So who knows, by the time this recording airs, things could change. But what I wanted to talk about was that actual interview process that I had over 8 years ago, because I referenced it in the other video and said I would do just a video on that because it was so crazy. So I was interviewing in 2016. Well, let's just say I should back up. At my last job, I was in management, sales management, non-executive. So I was sales manager responsible for the Americas and direct business globally. And I had some salespeople reporting to me. I had customer service reporting to me, some channel or distribution people reporting to me. And at that time, and this is actually inspiration for another video, there was some changes going on in the organization, and I just was kind of seeing where that went. But during this time, I received a phone call from a recruiter who said, a competitor of yours is looking for a vice president. And I thought to myself, that's really awesome. I'm being considered for a vice president position. At that point, I had not ever been an executive before. So I thought, let me talk to this guy, but it has to be right. That's the thing. I loved my job so much in terms of the company culture. It's 15, 20 minutes from where I live. So like all these things had to be right. So I spoke to the recruiter, whatever, we probably had that hour phone call that you typically have, just asking me questions, high level questions, and what my compensation is, and all these different things. So I said, sure. He goes, okay, let me pass your information over to the hiring manager, who would have been the CEO. The irony is that's my job now, but so Pat passed it over to the CEO, and then they got back to me and said, there's an HR person's going to have a kind of like a high-level screening call with you. Okay, great. So I remember taking that call. The irony is I talked to the recruiter and then later the HR person in the conference room at my previous job. I don't recommend doing that though, because I was a little up, like kind of like looking over my shoulder kind of thing, and that's not good for the phone call, right? Because you could potentially be distracted. So that went well, right? So then the hiring manager, the CEO, was then going to have a call with me. Okay, that makes sense. And we weren't doing like Teams calls back then or anything like that. This was circa 2016, and so we had a call. So now I'm 3 hours in on this. Really cool. I liked her. I liked what she was describing. Awesome. So she said, why don't you come out to Marietta, Ohio, plan like half a day, We'll meet, we'll talk. Cool. So far, so good. So they arrange for my travel arrangements. I fly into Pittsburgh, car rental, 2-hour drive to Marietta. I get there like an early afternoon or something like that. We spend the entire afternoon. We were supposed to go to dinner that night, but then that didn't happen for whatever reason. But she had me do a presentation, and it was her and another woman walked in. She was responsible for like sales training or something like that, and this woman was just, the CEO was just put into her position, but she had been with the company for about 7 years at that point anyway. So she was kind of like rebuilding the leadership team. So for whatever reason, they didn't have anyone else meet with me, which was strange. Looking back, it was kind of strange. And then, so that was half a day. So call that 4 hours, right? And the presentation she had me do, she didn't have me prepare for a presentation. She slid a laptop in front of me, opened the drawer in the conference room, pulled out a stack of papers like this big. It said, "You have an hour to put together a like business presentation," or like I think it was like a 180-day plan or something like that. "Here's the supporting documents, and then we'll use the next hour for you to review." Okay, or to present it. All right. I've never had to make a present. I thought that was kind of a waste of time, frankly, at the moment, because you're spending that time getting to know me, but instead, like, I'm building a presentation. So using the hour, like, that's not much time. Like, you would never build a business plan. Like, that's the fail here. You would never build a 180-day plan or business plan in an hour, right? So what I did was come up with concepts, talking points, and so I presented to her and the sales training person, which was really interesting. Like, really looking back, it doesn't make sense. And the weird part about it is there was a screen in that room or whatever, but instead we just huddled around a laptop. It's so strange. Okay, fine. I'm still in. The building is a dump, but like it had charm in terms of like it wasn't very corporate or anything like that, and I didn't want a corporate setting. Culture was number one for me as an employee and as a leader. And so so we did this. So we said goodbye. It was like probably 6-7 at night. It was just her and I left in the office. I drove the 2 hours back to the Pittsburgh airport. They put me up in a hotel. I remember I got there at like 10 o'clock, after 10 o'clock at night. I remember loosening my tie and like going to the hotel, like restaurant, bar, whatever. And like they had just closed. I hadn't had dinner. They had just closed the kitchen. Like, I think you could get like an app or something. So maybe I got an app. And then I remember just going to my room, and I remember for whatever reason just laying on my back on the bed with my suit still on, just like catching my breath, like, oh, I did it. So I'm thinking, all right, like next steps, kind of thing. So I talked to the recruiter. They're like, they like you, did a great job. The next step is, so keep in mind, I live in Massachusetts. That's Marietta, Ohio. So I flew there, flew back, fine. The next step is they want to send you to Manhattan to have a professional assessment done. I thought, first I was like, another step. Okay, I'm here for it. So now it's like, the first round, I think, and all that kind of stuff happened like November 2016, something like that. So it was, nearing Christmas time in New York City. And, it might have been late November, early December. And I remember, I remember going there. It was pouring and raining, and I had to park in a parking garage far from the hotel. Checked in, put a suit on the next day, walked whatever number of blocks, and went to the professional assessment. Now, I am grateful for that experience, and it wasn't painful. For me, like, the actual, like, mechanics of an interview or meeting are not the painful part. To me, it's the logistics, always getting there, getting back, putting on a suit, make sure it's not wrinkled, like all that kind of stuff. Finding parking garages, pouring rain, that's the stuff that gets under my skin. So I walk into this room, really nice lady, and there's like a couch and like an armchair. She goes, take a seat, And I said, oh, does it matter? No, you can sit wherever you would like. And in my head, I was like, is this part of the test? Because this is more of not like a test of like, do you know your accounting or whatever. This was like to make sure I'm not like a killer, and to make sure that my personality will fit well with the CEO's personality, because they were looking for somebody, because she was a new CEO. They were looking for somebody who could essentially be like a sparring partner and mesh really well. So this went for 6 hours. I sat there, and she started asking questions about my childhood as early as kindergarten. What were my parents like? How did I view my parents? What was I like in school? All of this went all the way up to like my current age at that time. And then in the last hour or so, she would like double back to things early on again. And it dawned on me that she was doing it, one, to see if I was consistent. Two, now that I'm fatigued, am I going to come off as agitated? And so that wrapped up. It was exhausting, and it would have been nice not to have been in a suit. She even said that you didn't have to be in a suit today. And I was, just like interviewing 101, it's like, if you don't know the dress code, wear a suit, and, with a tie. So I did that. I walked out of there, and because it was Christmas time, I literally walked over to like Rockefeller Center where I was so close. I forget if I got changed. I might have like zombie walked in my suit after I felt like I had a like lobotomy, my brain removed, for 6 hours. Walked around, just took in and I'm not a city guy, but I just took in the scenes because it's iconic. Not Times Square, Rockefeller Center. Times Square is iconic too. So did that, kind of just walked around, and I'm not really good at that kind of thing. Probably got something to eat and left. Okay. And the cool thing about that was they said, whether you get the job or not, we will provide you a written copy of the assessment. All right, cool. Very cool. And so then in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I know I'm not an axe murderer, and this seemed to went well. They're just going to tell the company more about my personality, etc. So then they're like, great, that went very well. So the next step is, so the global headquarters of this company is in Europe, Switzerland. And let's just say, I grew up kind of sheltered. I don't think, other than like going to Canada, I have ever really left the country, let alone speak a foreign language. Spanish, un poco, but not German. So they called me and said, well, we're gonna book a trip now to Switzerland so you can meet everyone at the high ups. So I was like pretty like dialed in and not annoyed really with the up to this point. But the Switzerland thing was like, okay. I thought, what am I gonna do? Go over there, meet a couple people, like interview for half a day, fly back. That's what I thought. So I fly over. So here's the thing. I had a job at the time, and it was a job where I'm in the office every day. And I'm just one of those guys who doesn't take much time off from work or whatever. And, because I had been at that company for like 7 years, I know my coworkers really well. So I kind of quickly took off I think it was a Thursday and a Friday. And it was like, oh, like, what are you up to? What are you doing? Kind of thing. And it was a competitor, right? So I'm unfortunately not being truthful and avoiding everything. So I worked on a Wednesday. I literally took my suitcase, left work on a Wednesday and drove straight to the airport, red-eyed, to Zurich. Got to Zurich. Now, I've never left I've never gone to Europe before. I don't speak German. I have to basically go about 2 hours by train to get to this little town that the office is in. And it's not a direct, you could do a direct shot with the train, but adds so much time. So I remember getting to the train station and trying to find someone in English to help me. And I had printed instructions on step-by-step instructions, which were actually very useful, that the CEO had given me or emailed me. I get on the train. I'm not sure what stop I'm supposed to get off because everything seems to be called something slightly different than what it's what I'm seeing. And because trains, there's different ways to go. I'm like, is this the one? So the name of the town is Buchs, SG, Buchs St. Gallen. So I saw St. Gallen on the train stops. I didn't see anything about Buchs or anything. So I got off St. Gallen. I'm at St. Gallen and I'm reading the instructions of where to walk from the train station to the hotel. And it's not lining up. I'm like, this is really weird. It's really weird. So I go into this random store, and I must have looked like I had panic on my face. And I was like, "Is this Buchs St. Gallen?" And they're like, "No." And I was saying the name of the hotel, which is not like a Marietta. It's just a one-off hotel. And they're like, "No." What? And again, they speak German, I speak English, so trying to make this all work. Finally, someone helped me, and I got back on the train. I get on the train. Now, keep in mind, Switzerland is 6 hours ahead. So, you lose 6 hours when you make this trip. I get back on the train. I get off the train. I follow the instructions in that hotel. I'm staying in a different one these days, but that hotel is just a few blocks from the train station. It's really easy. And but at the time, it's not easy. And it's in a shopping mall, right? And you have to go up an escalator, and it's a small shopping mall. Go up an escalator, blah blah blah. Finally, I check in. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had left my job at 5, U.S. time the day before, and it's just now 3 o'clock. That means I haven't changed my underwear since that morning, the day before. Brush my teeth, anything. You're pretty damn right. So they told me, one of the owners of the company and another guy wanted to take me out to dinner, who I've never met. I just got their names. They will meet me behind the hotel in a car. Sounds shady, right? At whatever time. So I shower, I rally, I get in the car. And you have to be on. It's first impression. And I don't know, I've never met or talked to these people or interacted with these people. I just a car showing up with people. So they drove me. There's a country one of the next countries over is called Liechtenstein, very small country. They drove me way up in the mountains. This really cool restaurant overlooking. It's so beautiful there when you go up in the mountains. So they start feeding me wine, beer, and we had this long dinner. I think it was definitely after 10 o'clock at night when I got back to my room. And I was told, meet downstairs for breakfast, because my CEO was there for other types of meetings. And so it was let's meet at 7 a.m. for breakfast, and then we'll walk. It's a 20-minute walk to the office. I did do a video on walking around that area on this channel when I was there last time. But anyway, so again, my CEO, I don't know anyone. Like, and she was very stoic and like kind of rigid, cold. Just her personality. Ultimately, we became friends and everything later down the line. But at that point, like, so it's like 20 degrees. It's freezing cold. After we eat breakfast, we walk to the office. I kid you not. They interviewed me. They had an agenda of interviews from 8 to 5 that day, including a group lunch. I had an 8-hour interview. And it was a different person every hour. And you hear the same questions over and over again. Lunchtime would have been nice if it was like 2 people or something. You can kind of catch your breath. No. Brutal. But I found as I was walking through the halls there, and to use the restroom or get a glass of water or something, like just kind of like workers would be like, "Congratulations on the job, congratulations!" Like, and I would be like, "Oh no, I don't have the job yet. I hope they pick me." Blah blah blah. No, congratulations. So what I didn't know at the time was basically I was the only one they were bringing to Switzerland, and it was basically like my job. Like my job not to screw up, basically. And the reason why my CEO is being so cold with me is she didn't want me to feel too comfortable and then blow it when I'm there, because I would have thought that I got the job. But she told me I was her pick. I was her guy. She told me way after the fact that I was her pick, long before I went to Switzerland. But like they had to cross those T's, dot those I's, right? So at some point at like 4 in the afternoon, my CEO's boss, like the global boss, says, "Oh, so are you coming to our holiday party tonight?" And I said, "Oh, I didn't realize I was invited." So I look over at my CEO, and she just has this like stone face, and he's like, "Oh, I want you to come tonight." So in my head, I'm like, "This is an awesome sign." But my body's like, "Oh, I'm so tired." So we went to the holiday party. So meanwhile, like all the cars are teeny tiny there. One of the people there says, "Oh, I'll take you guys." So it was me, a CEO, and that sales training person who came over from the U.S. The 3 of us were jammed in the back seat of this little car, driving to God knows where. We go to this venue, and someone's giving a speech in German. The founder of the company comes up to me and just says, "Congratulations," and puts his arm around me, like, "Thank you for coming this way, and congratulations." I don't have a job offer. Like, my CEO has not said anything to me. So I think I was kind of set up, like this was like a formality kind of thing. But I didn't know about it. So we were there to about midnight, and finally my CEO, who's thankfully still on U.S. time herself, and which actually would be a benefit, but was tired. Around midnight, she was like, let's see if we can get a ride back to the hotel. So we get a ride back to the hotel, jammed in the backseat of this car. I'm with these strangers, like jammed in this car. It's like I can't make this up. But when I was at the holiday party, my company that I was working for at the time had their holiday party that previous weekend, and we're competitors. So I was like, I can't believe I am in Switzerland on a Thursday night at a competitor's holiday party, and I can't tell anyone about it. So it was kind of like a pinch me moment. I think I was so tired. I was beyond tired at that point. Like, I don't know how I functioned, like, properly. So I knew I had to be, I think, like, out the door. Like, I think I was taking a 6 o'clock train the next morning. Yeah, right. So I went to leave the hotel the next day. Now, I said earlier, it's in a shopping mall, and there's escalators and whatnot. Well, everything's shut off because I was leaving so early, including the front doors of the mall. Like, you just can't walk out the door. I thought I was trapped in this like mall, and I was like, my anxiety was getting me. I was like exhausted. I was like, they better offer me this damn job. So I ultimately went underneath the mall into the parking garage, and like literally, like a car, like the thing opened, the giant steel door opened up, and I walked out that way. It was ridiculous. I learned years later, like, how to deal with that. But I get on a train, I do the whole rigmarole, get to Zurich, passport control like 6 times, and then I think that was the time where I connected. And again, I'm in Massachusetts, but I had to connect in Chicago, which was a pain, and you have a short connection. At least you go through customs there, so when you finally landed in Boston, you could just blow through. Got my car, and I got in late Friday night, and I was just saying, when I got home to my wife, I just said, I better have an offer or I will flip out after what I just went through. So I did get the recruiter actually reached out to me over the weekend and said, they're going to want to talk to you. What time do you want to talk on Monday? CEO wants to talk to you to present you an offer. So I did get an offer. It was a really good offer. I took the job, and here I am as of this recording. And that was for a vice president position. And it worked. I would say it worked out pretty well as I'm CEO now, even though I don't look like it and act like it on these other videos I do. But this is a hobby. And after time went on and years went by after that, other opportunities have come and gone. I told myself I would never, ever put myself through something like that again. It was cool that I did it because it was kind of like I didn't know what I didn't know in terms of like interview processes for these things. I mean, it's not like I was interviewing to be vice president at Google. Like that would have been like I would get that, right? It's a tiny company. And it's one of those things that I would not put myself through again. Glad I had the experience the first time. Absolutely glad I did it that time. But it's interesting when you find in life that you will reflect back on something and say, hey, I would never like do that again. That was totally unnecessary. If I would know then what I know now about like interviews, I would have either said not interested in the opportunity or like no, I'm not doing it like that or whatever. But then again, if I would have said no, I would have missed out on that. It's been a great 8 years of my life professionally, for sure. Learned a lot, take my lumps, my successes. So that is something I thought I would share because I hope I don't have to go through something like that ever again. And as I just said, I don't think I would put myself through it. If it was, I'm a CEO now and I'm kind of like reached like where I wanted to kind of go. So if I were to leave and go somewhere else, I don't think they would run me through the gauntlet like that again because I now have 8 years experience as an executive and 14 as a manager. So it's really that time I was transitioning from a manager to a first-time executive. So maybe I could see why they really kicked the tires with me to make sure that like I can grow into that position. And they allowed me to, which I'm forever grateful for. All right, so that's my long interview process. I'm on this long car ride, and it's just nice to kind of share that experience because it was pretty crazy. And I appreciate everyone out there watching. And I have more videos out there on these types of topics, interviewing and just kind of like business, not weird, but interesting business topics or experiences that I've had over the years. So if you're into that stuff, definitely check out the channel. And if you're here watching because of this will be a very diverse channel for you, as this is kind of a growing kind of section of the channel versus what we normally do and whatnot. So thanks for watching. I appreciate the support, and like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.